Matt Joseph easily took the 2020 college football crown at Sports Memo, picking up plus 71% in profit for his clients, winning 62% of his college selections with a final record of 98, 59, and 3. For unlimited time, you can get the first 4 college football weekends starting on Saturday, August 28, 2021, and running through Saturday, September 25th, 2021, for only $149 versus a regular price of $330. As an added bonus, we'll include any NFL side, total, or prop plays Matt releases during this time at no additional charge.
Welcome into First Pitch for Friday, August 6th. I am Drew Martin, your host, joined by Tony Finn and Dave Cokin of WagerTalk.com. We got the heavy hitters for today's show to break down the 4 games on tonight's card. We got best bets at the end. First up here, Dave Cokin, WagerTalk.com, number 1 this year at WagerTalk. Dave, welcome in. Happy Friday morning to you.
Thank you, Drew. Coming off a 1-0 Thursday, I only played 1 game and almost got very frustrated. I had the Rockies first 5 minus a half run, and it's 4-0, coasting along, 2 outs, 1 on in the top of the 5th, and all of a sudden, bing, bang, boom, boom, 4 straight hits. It's a 4-4 game, and I had to leave to attend the Wager Talk 2021 kickoff lunch, which was taking place for the Las Vegas segment of the Wager Talk population. It's like, well, all right, looks like I'm going to lose this. And then Trevor Story hit a 2-run homer just as I was walking out the door, and I had a much better lunch because of that. So 1-0 yesterday, hopefully 2-0 today. I've got a free play that I'll use as the best bet here on the show on a good-sized underdog. And my best bet for the entire card is up now at WagerTalk.com. WT.buzz/DC is my homepage there. And among those attending the kickoff lunch yesterday was the one and only Tony Finn.
Those seem to be far too few and far too far between, obviously. So, yeah, it's good to see you, Dave, and good to see everybody else. For me, my best bet's not up yet, but it is in today's game. It's today's card. It's the Blue Jays, and I yesterday didn't do quite as good as Dave. I split my baseball 1-1, although I did catch a small play on the great football game that we had from Canton, Ohio.
It was nice to have football back. I mean, obviously it wasn't much of a game.
Yes, it is.
Yes. Which the Hall of Fame game generally isn't much of a game. But they were out there hitting and got to watch some football. It's fun to have it back, and hopefully we're going to have a season without too many issues like we had in 2021 or 2020, I should say, and it'll be a lot smoother sailing. I mean, I was happy with the results last year, but let's face it, the 2020 football season was kind of a pain in the ass.
I agree. Second that notion.
For sure. A lot to keep up with, Dave. And like your story about walking out, heading to the lunch, it made your lunch a better lunch, Dave. It's kind of like speaking to the sports better lifestyle out there that we all know. So excited to get after these games with both of you guys. And let's start off in the NL East. We get the New York Mets and Philadelphia Phillies, guys. We get Stroman going for the Mets, Gibson going for the Phillies here. Looks like almost 10 miles an hour wind blowing out, 86 degrees projected in Philadelphia, 7:05 primetime start here, Dave. This game on ESPN, number 1 and number 2 in the NL East. 9.5 being the total, near a pick-em price now. Gibson's second start as a Philly. You liking anything here, Mets and Phillies tonight, Dave?
I thought Gibson's first start as a Philly was encouraging. He had been going a little bit stale for Texas, and that could happen when you're playing on a losing team and you got to beg for run support every game. Gibson's numbers have tailed off a little bit. Now he's facing guys who haven't seen him with this newfound arsenal that he has, and I think that bodes well for him, at least for the time, for a short term with the Phillies. I mean, he's had a really good year, even though his recency numbers are not all that good. Stroman's numbers are better over the past month, but the Phillies are on a little bit of a winning streak right now. Whether they can maintain it or not, I don't know. In fact, I suspect they probably won't. I think this is basically, a 500 type baseball team that's going to look good for a week and then look bad for a week. But right now they're playing pretty good ball. I do think they have a little bit of an edge on the mound tonight. This didn't make my card. Had the Phillies been even money or better, I probably would have made a small play on the Phillies. They're minus 115, so I won't, because I don't think I'm getting enough bang for my buck as far as an actual bet is concerned. But from an opinion standpoint, I will go with the Phillies.
Sure, Dave. And Tony, coming to you next. The Mets have kind of struggled on the road. Phillies have been good at home. This is Gibson's actually his first home start as a Philly. I look towards the Phillies as well, Tony. What are you thinking tonight? Number 1 and number 2 in the NL East. Only a half a game separating them.
Yeah, the Mets are making it easier than I thought they would. They didn't have a very good series against the Marlins. So it's what's funny about that series is of the 4-game series, guys. I did make a play in that series. I made the play on the Marlins the one time they did get beat by the Mets. So that was fun. And in this, here's the deal with the Phillies. They were my loss yesterday. I actually had the Phillies yesterday. I liked, while I hesitate in many situations to play Nola on the road, I did play him on the road, but I played the run line yesterday. So I have a 7-5 lead going into the final inning, and they give up 1 run, so it's finished 7-6. But I don't cover my run line, so that's kind of been that's been a big part of my summer is missing run lines or some hysteric. At least in my orbit, it's a hysteric when those things happen time and time again. But the Phillies bullpen didn't. I don't. If you consider Ian Kennedy an improvement, I think that then that speaks to what you think of the Phillies. So in this situation, I do too. I lean with the Phillies. I root for the Phillies. I actually like the Phillies. Always have liked the Phillies a little bit. Nothing in particular made me feel that way, but I like the fans. I think the fans are a little rough around the edges, but I kind of like that. So tonight, I'll be watching intently. This is going to be, again, I think this will be the funnest series of all the series, all the divisions in baseball. Boston and Tampa Bay, I think will come down to the wire, and I think that will be fun to watch. But this Atlanta, Philadelphia, New York Mets, three-team kind of love triangle, call it what you want, is going to be very, very interesting, especially since the 3 of them meet each other, I think, in the final 2 weeks of the season, the final week of September and the first week of October. So I'll lean the Phillies as well, you guys.
Yeah, I like when it works out that way. They play each other at the end there, Tony, and the 3-way love triangle, the way you put it. A good one there. And guys in the chat box, welcome in Sean, Jose. We get Eric in the house, Abel, Jessica, as always, Johnny Outlaw. All of you guys, thanks for joining us live. Some talk here on another good one, Tony. The Chicago White Sox and Chicago Cubs. It's a day matchup here, Tony. Any action on the day action today, Tony? Real quick.
No, I didn't have any action on this. The first glance, I kind of thought I found it. It's just one of those day games. The schedule. I don't know if there was something special going on because everything else today is in a night session. Is in the night session, which is typical of Fridays. There's a couple of things that we can depend on. When we can't depend on the Phillies bullpen, there's a few things we can, like I said, and that is typically our Mondays and our Fridays are, we have all day to kind of examine matchups, rosters, injuries, et cetera, et cetera. This game really didn't thrill me, Drew. And I have a list of teams that I kind of try to avoid at this point in time, the sellers that I find very difficult to get my arms around, and one of them is the Cubs. The White Sox have been hit and miss, but to be completely honest, it's funny. I usually have some kind of opinion on the game, but in this game right here, it was pretty easy. I'm not a big Lance Lynn fan, although I can remember Dave and I we talked about Lance Lynn, how well he pitched during the whole time last year. I think both of us kind of had a high opinion of him. Thought he exceeded expectations, and the move to the White Sox, he hasn't really disappointed. His peripherals in certain areas are questionable, but I can't say that he's disappointed at 10-3 and just over a 2 ERA, although those are probably due for a little bit of regression. It's hard not to like the White Sox, but I'm sure not going to I'm just not going to lay $170 or whatever the current line is against a guy who I know, regardless of what the Cubs are doing or what their intent is, and that is they're just playing the season out. Hendricks is a guy I know is going to go to the mound and give 110%.
Sure. And it's up to as high as minus 185, guys, in the day action. Appreciate you guys talking about this in the chat box. And, of course, it's Friday, Wrigley Field. It's always a day game for some reason. I think it's like a local ordinance there in Chicago, Wrigleyville.
Is it?
But, Dave.
That's funny. I don't know.
Yeah. Real quick, Dave, did you have any day action? If not, we'll just move on.
No. No, I have nothing on this game. Edge to Lynn over Hendricks, but it's not enough to consider making a play on. And listen,
sure. And,
if nothing else, I'll just quickly mention, I mean, the Cubs have nothing to play for right now. So this rivalry series is probably like their version of the playoffs this year.
Yeah, and actually the Cubs, they're one of the teams with the home road splits in terms of their offensive performance, guys. So I actually have the Cubs circled as bet on at home. However, they have kind of traded a lot of those pieces on the roster. So take that with a grain of salt in terms of future performance from past performance with the Chicago Cubs. We got next game up, guys, heading to the AL East. Another good one here. Boston Red Sox, Toronto Blue Jays, Tony. We get Alex Manoah going for the Jays, minus 140-ish favorites. We're seeing them right now going up against Nathan Eovaldi and the Red Sox here. What are you liking in the AL East tonight, Tony?
Well, I'll tell you this. I like Toronto in this game, and I like the kid Manoah on the mound today. But I'll talk about this during the best bet section. It's my best bet today, if that's kosher.
Absolutely, that is kosher. As we're heading north of the border here, Dave, with the Toronto Blue Jays playing at home in Toronto. Are you liking anything Red Sox and Jays tonight?
I don't want the Red Sox right now. They're not playing very good baseball. I mean, they've hit the skids. I think they've lost 6 out of 7 right now. They're not in good form. Eovaldi's been good enough, but Manoah's been even better if you look at the recency. So slight edge to the mound of the Blue Jays, and likewise the team form would favor the Blue Jays, but that's in the price. And again, that's what you have to factor in as to whether a game's worth betting or not. Do I think Toronto's maybe the right side in the game? Yeah, but it's minus 135. I don't want to lay that kind of a number in the first 5. And as far as the full game's concerned, it's actually even a little bit higher on the full game. So I just don't see anything playable here. I think Toronto will win, but that's all I can give you.
Yeah, I'm with you, Dave. I mean, 1-3 straight, 8-2 their last 10. The Blue Jays playing good baseball right now, but at this minus 135 price tag against a good Boston Red Sox lineup, I haven't fired away on this primetime action either. Guys, we got 2 games left. Best bets at the end. Welcome in. We got Alaska in the house. We got Panama in Central America in the house as well. Bienvenidos to all the Spanish speakers out there as well. You're more than welcome to join the show. Feel free to chime in the chat box, guys. Wager Talk YouTube, Monday through Friday, 1:45 Eastern time. Come and join us. If you're watching on replay, always feel free to drop a line below on the Wager Talk YouTube. We got next game up, 8:10 Eastern, Dave. We get the San Francisco Giants and the Milwaukee Brewers. Logan Webb versus Corbin Burns. Brewers commanding a pretty hefty price tag here, Dave. It has been bought down. We're seeing about minus 150 now from the opener of minus 170. A total of 8 in Milwaukee. You liking anything here, Giants and Brewers tonight, Dave?
I think you can make a case there's some value on the Giants here. Logan Webb's been pitching really good ball. And in fact, if you look at the last month, he's actually got better numbers than Burns. That's how hot Logan Webb has gotten for the Giants. Burns has been dominant at home. Great numbers there. Brewers are playing pretty good baseball for the most part. And look, the Brewers should be favored in the game. But to me, it's really breaks down to something pretty simple, which is a hot pitcher on a good baseball team that's getting a nice plus price. It's a game I definitely considered. I did not end up making a play on the Giants in this game, but it is something I considered. And from a value standpoint, I think San Francisco, just based on the hot pitcher and the price, I can make a case for the Giants here.
Sure, I agree, Dave. And Tony, coming to you next. You know, the Giants, the most profitable team in baseball, the best team in baseball, if you go by record here, catching a plus 135 price tag with a good pitcher on the hill. What are you liking tonight, Giants and Brewers?
I agree with Dave. I mean, listen, the value here rests in the dugout, the Giants dugout. At least I see it that way. San Francisco, while they're in Milwaukee, while Burns has been for the most part his overall numbers and his body of work for this season has been outstanding. Milwaukee seems to be hitting the ball better. They're still not an offense that I think you can, flip a coin and trust. That kind of an offense, but San Francisco, they're just an aberration. Everything they've done this year is, I think, above their pay grade. At least was expected of them. The fact that most of their runs come via home run, it was a surprise too when you look at this lineup. But they've also not that that body of work, or not that the sample size is that large, but they've had pretty good success against Burns. I mean, other than Chris Bryant, who's the new addition to this team, they're hitting about 333, and guys like Posey are 4 for 4 against Burns. Now, that's how much you put in that, I don't know, but I'm with Dave. I would lean here toward the Giants, especially at that kind of a dog price on Webb, who has been he's been as good, better than advertised, and if he was pitching for me and I was the manager, I'd trust him when he went to the mound. He hasn't been up and down. He hasn't been hot and cold. He hasn't been schizophrenic. I really like the fact that he's been consistent, as has the whole staff. So I'd lean the Giants here.
All right, liking the Giants tonight. And guys, I have a feeling we're going to revisit this one in best bets as we head to the nightcap here on the West Coast. Tony, we get the battle for LA. I'm not sure 100% what they call this one, but it's the Angels and Dodgers. Sandoval versus Price. We're seeing the Dodgers a heavy home favorite here, -$2 now, -200. That is risk 200 to only win 100 on the Dodgers tonight. That's the price tag. 8.5 the total. MLB Network game, 75 degrees in Dodgers Stadium tonight. You liking anything in the nightcap, Tony?
Well, I like Sandoval. I've made a little bit of money on Sandoval this season, and I think I liked him. I know I liked him the last time out, and I didn't cash with him. But this is a tough. I think it's a tough matchup for the Angels. They're not completely healthy. As we all know. They don't have their Mickey Mantle version of Mickey Mantle healthy, and Ohtani's been good, but he can't do it alone against a good Dodgers team. Now that said, I'm not a big fan of Dave Roberts and the way he manages. I think that if you look at the Dodgers and you look how many runners they leave in scoring position, they rate right there with the Arizona Diamondbacks and some of the teams, the bottom line teams. Now, granted, the argument would be that they put a lot of runners on base, but it's situational hitting. I mean, it's amazing. A couple weeks ago, I had the Dodgers, and they had bases loaded. They're up 1. It's late in the game. It's about 7th or 8th inning. Bases loaded, nobody out. And I thought, squeeze a run across here and give me some insurance. But 3 guys up, swinging for the fences, 3 strikeouts, and the Dodgers ended up losing that game. Jansen blew a save opportunity. But in this situation, I think the price is big. I have a hard time trusting the Dodgers right now, but I'll tell you this. If you're trusting the Angels and not over the Dodgers, I think that's something that I'd love to have a conversation with you about and tell me why you are. So I'm not laying that money, -2 on the Dodgers, the way they're hit and miss right now. And Sandoval's listen, if there's one thing about Sandoval, if he's not locating his fastball, he's very hittable. So I passed in this game, but if you put a gun in my head, guys, I'd probably be on Sandoval taking a chance at a 2-1 dog.
And shout out to Abel here in the chat box saying it's not actually the Battle of LA. The Angels are in Orange County. Drew, it's called the Freeway Series. So I appreciate that, Abel, in the chat box. And thanks for that as well, Dave. What are you thinking tonight in the nightcap, Dave?
So this is one of those games where I think the odds makers are telling you what might happen. Because if you look at the full game price, you see the Dodgers open 195, and they've actually ticked up to 205, 210 on my board. The first half, however, the first 5, Dodgers only opened at like they're in the 170 range. Okay, so a much lower price in the first 5, and that is where I look to this game. David Price has been okay for the Dodgers lately. He's settling in as a starting pitcher once again after pitching out of the bullpen and really not having a role early in the season. Remember, he didn't pitch at all last year, so it took him a while to find his way. He's pitched pretty good ball lately. But Sandoval is showing indications that he might be a number 1 starter. Tony mentioned he has control problems every now and then. But when he's throwing strikes, when he's commanding his fastball, his changeup and his slider become absolutely lethal, particularly the changeup. It is as good a changeup as you'll find in baseball. Tremendous swing and miss rate on that pitch. And there's only been a couple of games, really, where he's had control problems in this stretch of good pitching. And it's not just a little short-term sample. Now you're looking at I think 10 or 11 starts where this guy's been really solid. Over the past month, his OPS is under 600, which is good. It's better than Price. His full season OPS is better than Price. His road OPS is better than Price's home OPS. The starting numbers all favor Sandoval. The starting pitcher numbers, compared to the numbers that I like to use, all favor Sandoval here. Now, what doesn't favor the Angels is, of course, the fact that Dodgers are a much better team, and the Angels aren't exactly crushing the ball right now. So you can't really make a case for the Angels as far as the team data goes. But when you're looking at first five options, it's mostly a starting pitcher option. And I think Sandoval gets the check marks here against Price. And I'm getting plus 155. I'll take that. I don't care what happens in the last 4 innings. The Angels bullpen can go in and blow the game like they do frequently. Doesn't matter. I'll go with Sandoval to beat Price for 5 innings at plus 155. The Angels rather, first 5 is my free play today. It is a selection. And so therefore it's obviously my best bet here in the show.
Barking dog in the freeway series tonight for the first 5. Dave Cokin liking the Angels, plus the big price tag there on the underdog, guys. So yeah, I guess we can just start off best bets here. Tony, I'll throw it over to you. Where are you heading for best bets tonight?
And I'm going to go to Toronto. And as Dave mentioned, I think that's very sound. A $1.35, $1.40 on a rookie against a Boston Red Sox team that's well managed is difficult sometimes to it's hard. It's not completely responsible pushing that kind of money across the counter, but I've noticed, and I'm sure you guys have too. Yesterday I looked at some of the prices and I said, have we already reached September? Some of these prices seem to be inflated. I'm not saying today's are. I'm not saying this game is. I'm just saying I saw some yesterday. I thought, here we go. It's early August, and it seemed like we were already in September, and some of those price tags you get from expanded rosters, et cetera. But I sure like this kid, this number 1 prospect of Toronto, Manoah. He was injured a little. He got suspended for throwing at a batter. He injured himself a little bit. I think he had a right back contusion, and he missed a couple starts. But he had a side session that was exceptional by all the guys I trust that cover this team. And he came back and showed it. And in the next outing, he's actually faced the Red Sox a few times, at least of the batters. He's not a complete mystery to this Boston team. But I do like, despite the fact that this Blue Jays team has played the Royals, et cetera, they haven't played any barn busters or teams that are going to be threatening in postseason play. They're sure trying to make their mark this year, this young team. I personally don't think they have the pitching. I personally don't think that this young lineup also is the best defensive lineup. I think they're careless and reckless a lot of times in the field. That's what you get from kids. So, however, Dave mentioned earlier, Boston's not playing very well right now. They're not. Everything they seem to do just doesn't seem to be right. I watched them almost every game, at least when I could, and I'm always interested in Boston and New York, and I like that Eastern baseball, and I especially like the Boston manager. I just think he's an exceptional guy. I think he's a guy that's going to be managing for a long time and be successful. So I do like Manoah. I like Toronto. I like their attitude. I like their confidence right now, and I'll take Toronto as a medium favorite, minus 140, minus 135. I think there's some. I think it's well worth the price. I'm on Toronto and Manoah tonight.
And guys, I'm going to the San Francisco Giants Milwaukee Brewers game for my best bet. You know, a lot of times I like to kind of do it backwards in my handicapping, go handicap the bullpens first and then the starting pitchers. And that's what led me to this one, going after the bullpens, both very good bullpens, top 10 bullpens. San Francisco Giants is slightly better than the Brewers when they're both, full strength. That's the thing, though. Milwaukee Brewers bullpen is not full strength tonight. They got Josh Hader, their closer, out for COVID-19. Two of their next best relievers, Brad Boxberger and Devin Williams, both have thrown 2 of the last 3 and 3 of the last 5 days. So even though they're coming off of an off day, they're not fully ready to rock this series. You look at the starting pitchers, Corbin Burns, a great pitcher in MLB, but he's being priced like it, minus 150 favorite here. And he also gave up 9 hits in his last 4 innings pitched against the Atlanta Braves. Now he's going up against a better lineup in the San Francisco Giants, who, by the way, are 69-40, 633 winning percentage. There's no other team in baseball better than a 600 winning percentage. They're the most profitable team in baseball, up over 23 units on the season. And they got a hot pitcher going tonight. Dave just talked about it. Logan Webb, he hasn't given up 3 earned runs for almost 3 months, guys. His last 3 lineups he faced were the Dodgers twice and the Houston Astros once. Those are the 2 best lineups against righties in all of MLB. He went 3-0 against them. Very good performances in all 3 games. This is a team 34-23 on the road. They've won 2 straight. They're 9-3 their last 12. I believe this game is mispriced. As a bonus, I also bet the Giants plus 170 in the series. But for record-keeping purposes, my best bet for the show is the San Francisco Giants plus 135 underdogs against the Milwaukee Brewers. So in recap, 4 best bets, I got the Giants plus 135. We got Tony Finn on the Blue Jays minus 135 and Dave Cokin, Angels first 5. Big plus price tag there, plus 155. And Dave, also want to give you a shot here because you kind of did your best bet in the last frame there. Did you want to touch on anything on your best bet and any final thoughts for the show, Dave?
One final thought, which goes back to yesterday's kickoff lunch that took place. One of the more impressive things I've seen this summer was Teddy Covers picking off a pesky fly in mid-flight. I mean, he just nailed it. I mean, that was pretty awesome. That was definitely a highlight of the lunch. Well, no, that's not true. It was great to catch up with everybody. Anything of importance had? No, not really. I very rarely got anything important to add to anything. Go get the best bet. It's on a total first 5 over selection on a pair of really involving a pair of pitchers that are struggling right now. Struggling big time. So those pitching numbers indicate a good chance for lots of runs early. First 5 overplay best bet at wt.buzz/DC. That's it.
He's Dave Cokin, a legend in the industry. Always good things to talk about. We got Tony Finn as well. Great show, guys. For Tony Finn, Dave Cokin, I am Drew Martin. Thanks for tuning in. Have a fun, safe weekend. Please smash that like button on your way out. We'll be back on Monday. Best of luck with your bets until then.
Matt Joseph easily took the 2020 college football crown at Sports Memo, picking up plus 71% in profit for his clients, winning 62% of his college selections with the final record of 98, 59, and 3. For unlimited time, you can get the first 4 college football weekends starting on Saturday, August 28, 2021, and running through Saturday, September 25th, 2021, for only $149 versus a regular price of $330. As an added bonus, we will include any NFL side, total, or prop plays Matt releases during this time at no additional charge.